Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to the masterclass, Mental Health and the Chinese Five Elements. What a conversation we are going to have today. So, as you know, I have been an acupuncturist for the last decade, almost a decade. And I've been working in the field of healing, energy medicine, meditation, and transforming people's lives for more than 20 years. And so I basically put a post out a couple of weeks ago asking, what would people like? What would you like to see me create that you feel you need most help with, or more people would want more help with going forwards? Okay. And a few people private messaged me, and it was basically unanimously mental health. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at mental health through the lens of the Chinese medicine approach, Chinese medicine healing treatment, the 5 elements. I'm going to briefly go over the 5 elements because I've done deeper dives in other videos. Okay. If you want to see some other videos, then do reach out and I can guide you to those. But ultimately, looking at what is actually happening, okay, and how we can redress the balance from a Chinese medicine perspective, okay. So in Chinese medicine, it doesn't really matter, not that it doesn't matter, okay, that might be the wrong phrase to use, but it's not necessarily 100% concerned. Hello, Vanessa. It's not necessarily 100% concerned with the label, okay? So whether we're talking about mental health, or whether we're talking about menopause, or whether we're talking about back pain, or whether we're talking about migraines, in Chinese medicine, we see it through this lens, which shows us individual patterns of disharmony. And what can happen is you can actually have a physical ailment like a chronic back pain or, migraines, for example, which can lead to mental health issues, okay, or imbalances because you're living with chronic pain. Or very often is the case, it's the other way around. Okay, so in Chinese medicine, we say that emotion is the strongest cause of disease. So what can actually happen is you could be living with a low grade anxiety or a continual excessive overthinking and worry, okay? Or like frustration and anger about something in your life, but you're not actually changing the thing or healing the relationship to it. Therefore, it can eventually lead to longer standing, deeper patterns, which would manifest as mental health imbalances. Okay, so ultimately, when we talk about mental health, what is mental health? Well, mental health is actually health. Okay, mental health is a positive outlook, it's resilience, it's the ability to cope, and it's also quality of life. Okay, so if we haven't got our mental health, then we haven't got a quality of life. Okay, we haven't got enough resilience, we haven't got a positive outlook or hope for the future. Okay, and this can manifest in many different ways. Okay, so I did a post yesterday, a long written post, which was kind of like a precursor or a lead-in to this workshop, okay? And it was basically just going through, what is it from a Chinese medicine perspective, okay? So from a Chinese medicine, this lens that we look through whenever we are diagnosing a patient with a health, emotion, or life issue, okay? We're looking at it through the lens of qi, Okay, chi, energy, life force energy. Okay, so what is chi? Chi is like the energy we get from the sun. Okay, we get heat and we get light and we get energy from the sun. And without that source of energy, heat, and light, there would be no life on this planet. Okay, so we exist because of the energy that we get from the sun. And so that energy, in Chinese medicine terms, we call it yang. It's yang. It's light, it's bright, it's warm, and it's energy. Okay? And it's also dry. In, you know, not that you'd call the sunlight dry, but you know what I mean? Yang energy is generally dry or drying. And then that needs to be counterbalanced by its opposite to create balance and to actually create life forms. And so the opposite is the yin. And the yin is cool and is wet and is dark, okay, and is still. Whereas the yang is dynamic. And the yin is basically all the opposites, okay? So when we look at the health of the individual, we're looking at this internal balance of yin and yang, okay? And so the yin and the yang wants to be balanced. And as we go through different growth and development stages of our life, there is a different yin and yang balance. So like when we're younger, when we're children, and we're growing very fast, there's a lot more yang, and it's meant to be that way. And then as we age, internally, we want to be becoming more yin. Okay, and this is why I call my entire approach Be More Yin. And Be More Yin lends itself perfectly to the menopause, because what's happening as we age is we're becoming internally hotter and drier. And so if we don't balance that out with more of the cooling, wet body fluids, then we will run into imbalances which cause symptoms. And those symptoms for women can look like hot flushes, insomnia, you know, brain fog, anger, you name it, tiredness. And so the answer in most cases is to be more yin, but sometimes there's too much yin and not enough yang. And this is why in the Chinese medicine approach it's very personalized, okay? It's very unique and it's very tailored to the individual. So we not only have this yin and yang balance inside of each individual, but we have a yin and yang balance in each organ, okay? And so each organ can have its own imbalances, or some organs could be balanced quite well and others not. And then this can lead to, in Chinese medicine, we look at the organs as more than just physical parts of a machine, like this sort of seen through the Western lens. In Chinese medicine, they are at the root of all healing. Okay, so we use a lot of analogies. We think of a tree, okay, so we talk about roots and branches. And so the root is where we're healing in Chinese medicine terms. We're looking for the root, and the root is usually, if not always, an organ, okay? And each organ has many, many, many more functions than they do in Western understanding, okay? Same organs, same functions, but more. And they also, each organ houses a different emotion. So, depending on how our mental health imbalances are manifesting, will point towards certain organs as being more out of balance, okay, in the overall picture. So the organs and the elements, okay, so I called this masterclass Mental Health and the Chinese 5 Elements, okay? Let's look at it through the lens of the 5 elements. So we got wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, which is liver, heart, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, okay? So the emotion that is housed in each of those organs, for the liver, it's anger and frustration. For the heart, it's joy or lack of joy. For the spleen, it's worry. For the lungs, it's grief and sadness, okay? And for the kidneys, it's fear, okay? So you can have anxiety, for example, and it could be more of a kidney anxiety because it's more of a fear, okay? So it's more like a panic attack. There's more like visceral physical symptoms with breathing and with legs shaking and all of that kind of stuff, okay? And then you could have a anxiety that's more heart related, okay, heart imbalance, which is more like palpitations, feeling dizzy, okay, a feeling of dread, impending doom. And then you can have a type of anxiety which is literally like worry, okay, overthinking, worry, stomach churning, butterflies in your stomach, feeling nervous, going to the toilet a lot, that kind of thing. So it's all anxiety, okay? But in Chinese medicine, we're looking at it deeper and we're thinking, okay, where is the root and where am I going to focus my healing plan, my healing work, okay? Which organ is the most out of balance right now, okay? And then it goes even deeper than that, okay? So there's substances. So like yin and yang are substances. Yang is hot and dry and warm. Hot, dry and warm. It's hot, light, bright, dry, okay? And the yin is the cooling fluids. You can also have blood. Then there's also something called dampness. Dampness can accumulate in our system. It's like a mucousy substance. It's not actually water, but when the spleen and the digestion are weak and we're experiencing a lot of worry, that can allow excessive dampness to accumulate in our system. And this dampness can make us feel heavy. It can cloud our mind and our thinking. And it can also make us appear puffy, like we want to lose weight. Or it can also then over time interact with heat in our system and become phlegm. And then the phlegm can harden on our arteries, okay? And then also obviously if you've got a virus or whatever, then you do expel a lot of phlegm to try and get rid of the virus, okay? So these are the different substances in our body. So I don't want to go too technical with this workshop. I'm just introducing you to these kind of Chinese medicine principles, okay? These ways that we view the mental health, okay? So when a patient presents with a mental health imbalance, we're seeking to balance the root cause organ, okay, and heal the emotion at its root, and also balance the substances, okay? So if there's too much heat in the body, heat rises, and then when heat rises into the head, it can cause mania, and it can cause insomnia, and it can cause paranoia, and it can cause very fast kind of thinking, can't switch off, over busy, moving from one thing to the next and never being able to sit quietly with yourself, okay? And so sitting quietly with yourself is the ultimate answer, okay? So I say often that acupuncture or Chinese medicine is what I do, but meditation is who I am. So meditation has been one of the biggest, if not the biggest part of my life since I was 17 years old, okay? It's been the biggest part of my life, and it's been a daily practice multiple times a day. And if I'm dealing with a big issue in my life that is causing some kind of mental health disturbance, then I will meditate on the hour throughout the day, okay? This is how important it is. But I understand that for a lot of people, it's not easy to sit quietly and be with yourself, especially if you've got a lot of heat in your system, which is producing a lot of manic thinking, okay, and uncomfortable feeling in your body, okay? So these can actually be physical, visceral experiences that are caused by imbalances in the substances of our body, and then the organs might be too weak to actually create the correct balance for you. For example, if you are blood deficient, so in the West they might call that anemia, okay, but in Chinese medicine we see it quite often is blood deficiency. So you could be liver blood deficient, or you could be heart blood deficient. If you're heart blood deficient, you might have trouble falling asleep at night, you might have trouble remembering things, you might feel anxious, you might feel shy, you might have dry skin, okay, you might feel flat, okay, you might think you're depressed, but it's actually like a lack of spark. Whereas with the liver, if you've got a liver blood deficiency, then that can be more similar things, okay, but more of like a depression. It can also lead to blood stagnation. If you haven't got enough blood pumping through your veins and it's not moving at the right viscosity, then it can get stuck. And it can lead to liver blood stagnation, which can cause more severe imbalances and symptoms, and cause severe pain in your body as well, because things are stuck and they're not moving. Okay, so from a Chinese medicine perspective, pain is stagnation. It's something that's stuck, it's trying to move and it can't. That's where pain comes from. So what we do is we get the stuckness moving again. And when we get stuck substances moving again, ultimately you do feel better in your mind, emotions and spirit, because it's all linked. Okay, so liver blood deficiency, where was I going with that? Yes, sitting still with yourself. Okay, so because for some people it's not actually that easy to sit quietly with yourself, then this combination of having correct diagnosis, okay, and then a correct treatment plan with lifestyle advice alongside beginning a meditation practice. Okay, now you don't even have to call it meditation. I call it being more yin. Okay, now what that looks like for me is hours of meditation. Yes, that is what it looks like for me personally, and it's my favorite thing in the world to do. However, for you, it might look like a walk in nature. It might look like, reading a book, lighting a candle, reading a book, doing some prayers. It might look like journaling. It might look like doing something creative, like colouring, okay, art, you name it. But it's basically something that you do that slows you down, that brings you into the present moment, and ideally is something you do alone, okay? Because when you're doing activities with other people, or even if you're going for a walk with your dog and your dog's running through the woods and you're constantly looking for the dog and making sure the dog hasn't run off, and your attention is not on you, it's not on your feelings. So when you engage in these yin, which are just basically slower activities alone, you can be introspective and you can notice your own feelings and you can contemplate your own thoughts and you can create space away from the external world so that you can actually process your own thoughts and feelings and emotions. And so a yin activity is something you A, do alone, and B, is something that's slowing you down, okay? Is something that's bringing you into the present moment. You can even have yin versions of other activities. So for example, in yoga, there's lots of different types of yoga. So there can be more dynamic and hot types of yoga. And then you can also have yin yoga, okay? And some yin yoga, I mean, it's not like a structured practice for me per se, but I might get up in the morning and just go into child's pose and stay there for 10 minutes. And that's like a yin version of yoga. You go into a pose and there's no rush. There's no rush. Okay? Breath work. Becoming aware of your breath. All of these things. So I wanted to come on and just have this discussion about mental health and about these ways of viewing it and about the importance of getting a correct diagnosis, because really we are all so individual. Our individual life circumstances are different. Our individual organ balances are different. And, there is no one size fits all. So the approach that's needed if you're experiencing mental health issues is correct diagnosis first and foremost, a correct healing plan that can be, you can do your healing plan in conjunction with a practitioner like myself. And there's parts of it that I can apply for you and with you, and then there's parts of it that's your homework that you go off and you do on your own. And the healing and treatment plan seeks to get the body back into balance and the substances back into a healthier balance and flow. And then that results in it being easier for you to sit quietly on your own and do things on your own, yin activities, okay? And as I mentioned, the ultimate yin activity is meditation, okay? So I have pre-recorded meditation programs, okay? Some of them are quite a couple of years old now, so the price has never ever changed on those older meditation courses. So I decided, for the purposes of this mental health discussion, I'm going to, for the first time ever, do a special offer price on an older pre-recorded meditation program. So that program is 11 modules and it's going to be available. It's usually 222. It's going to be available for 111 if you've seen this masterclass. Okay, so if you want that meditation course, which will teach you how to meditate correctly, okay, and it's way more than meditation. When I talk about meditation, I actually like to call it more than a meditation, because, you know, when you think meditation, you have an idea in your mind. It might be, oh, I can't clear my mind. Okay, meditation isn't about clearing your mind. It's about being fully present. Okay, and so being able to be fully present and being able to experience a state which is actually your natural state. Okay, so it's not about clearing your mind, it's about experiencing your natural state, which is a state with zero anxiety. And if you can touch that state, even if it's just for a moment, you can experience zero anxiety. And that moment, which is your natural state, you can learn the skills to extend that moment for longer and longer and longer over time until that experience becomes your life. So I always say that the strongest energy always wins in any situation. So with conscious choice and learning the correct skills, you can actually decide that that moment of zero anxiety becomes the strongest energy in your life, becomes the more dominant frequency, and becomes where you live from more often than not. Okay? Now, all human beings experience anxiety in some moments, okay? But the zero anxiety formula is touching that space. Okay, the skills to touch that space where there is zero anxiety present, your natural state, and learning the skills to extend that moment so that it becomes longer and longer and longer, and then becomes the dominant force in your life rather than the fleeting thing that you experience once every blue moon when all the circumstances in your life line up and everything seems perfect and now you're able to be happy for a while. Okay, so that is the pre-recorded meditation course 111. If you've seen this masterclass and you want to purchase that course, then message me and tell me that exact thing, that you've seen the masterclass and you want to purchase the course for 111. I'm going to be adding 5 brand new live modules to that course, okay, over the next few weeks. And if you want the live modules as well, it will be 222, okay? So the normal price of the meditation course, but you will have all of the live modules, you'll have the group energy, you'll have the old recordings as well, and you will have, sorry, my battery's just about to run out there, okay? So you will have lifetime access to those new modules as well. And you've also got a VIP option to upgrade and get some one-to-one and some Voxer coaching included as well. Okay, so I hope that's given you a little bit more of a clearer insight into a hopeful picture really for mental health. Okay, because I think going forwards in the world that we live in now, there is a mental health crisis. Okay, and it's linked to physical health. So if there are physical imbalances in your body, you will be experiencing to some degree some uncomfortable emotions, okay, which it is possible to physically alleviate those physical causes so that that reduces your experience of mental health disturbance to a level where we can actually see what the real issue is, what the real imbalance is, what the real problem is. And then the longer term solution is learning those skills to get yourself back to your natural state and to decide to live from there and to make that the strongest energy. Okay, and also to know like what is a normal, healthy, uncomfortable emotion, and what is a normal, healthy length of time that I, can expect to be experiencing in a normal, healthy human life with all of its yin and yang and its ups and downs. What is normal and what is abnormal and what is unnecessary? Okay, where am I suffering unnecessarily, and what help is actually available for me in this situation? Okay, so I really hope that this short little explanation has opened your eyes to hopeful solutions, potential solutions for yourself, for your loved ones. If you know anyone who's struggling with mental health, then please share this video with them. You can invite them to my free group, okay, which is called Be More Yin. I'll drop the link to the group in the comments to this video, okay? And also reach out to me personally and I can converse with yourself or your loved ones about whatever they need is their next step going forward, okay? So I'm going to link that post to this video as well so that you can read the lengthy post I made yesterday with all the details, just basically bullet point covering most of the things that we've talked about today. Okay, I'll stop rambling on and I'll see you again very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you. Have an amazing day.